welcome to my garage. And today we're going to dissect the cat. We're going to do dissection sheet 1 for the digestive system. So the first thing that it says to do is talk about the teeth. And so in reality, I don't really care if you know the difference between incisors, cuspids, molars, all that stuff on the cat per se, but I am going to show you what they look like. So this is actually a really good one because it has all of its teeth basically. So here you're going to see the cuspids, and notice then between them you see your incisors. So they're right here, and then those are the cuspids, and then it has all of its molars and stuff in the back. So those are its teeth. That's why the sponge was in there, because the teeth are really sharp. So the next thing, I'm just going to kind of go down the list. So we're going to go 1 through 14. So the first one is the vestibule, and that's going to be up here in the gums. So if I were to ask you to pen it, do you have pens somewhere? And these numbers aren't going to be in order, but if I ask you to pen it, I would just have you pen right up here in the gum region. Okay. So the next one is their hard palate, and everyone can find this even on our own selves. So the hard palate is right up here. We call it the roof of your mouth. Notice here, and I'll try to find, it has these like ridges, okay? And then I want you to now do it with your tongue to the roof of your mouth. We don't have those, okay? So it's kind of a difference between the cat and the human. Your soft palate, it's gonna be kind of difficult, but it is in the back. So again, if you took your tongue and worked your way kind of like towards the back of your mouth, you should be able to feel that it's getting softer. If I were having you do this in class, you would be pressing on it, and you would notice that you can press in, versus here it's harder, and you're gonna make an indentation basically back here with the soft palate. The next one are your frenulums. So we have two different types. So you have a lingual frenulum and a labial. So a lingual is, so anything with lingual is going to mean tongue. So here you have a lingual frenulum here. In notes, I talked about this, that my son had kind of like a tongue tie when he was born. And so he got his lingual frenulum kind of clipped to prevent him from having like some speech problems later on. Labial, so you have two, so one up here and then also one down here, same thing. And a human, so you should be able to feel those with your tongue. They're connecting the gums to kind of right where your teeth start. So now number 6 is your parotid gland. Actually, I found the number 6. So if you find your masseter, you would go a little bit lower and you would find your parotid gland right here. Then the next one is your, on the sheet it says submaxillary gland, but it has been recently kind of the same thing as submandibular. So you would go a little bit further and you would find your submandibular gland right there. Number 8 is the pharynx. So again, pharynx is going to be all the way in the back of the throat. So if we were to do this in class and I was to ask you to label it, you would take your, I'm trying to remember what this is called. I've already lost it, but it's all right. You would take it and you would place all the way back here, and that would be your pharynx. All right, next thing before we move on is the papillae. So papillae is on the tongue, and actually if you were to feel it, it's very rough. Notice those are our taste buds. One thing, what does the cat do? Cats like to clean themselves, and so it's very rough. So it's like a brush. So they're cleaning themselves all the time. All right, so now what the next thing is you would be looking at the trachea, esophagus, and all that stuff. So we're gonna move down here. So a few things I wanna show you is that I clipped the hyoids. So the sternohyoid, I kind of like cut it apart, and I cut up here, and I made a super low cut here, and then I kind of got this out, okay? So this is going to be your trachea and your esophagus. This area right here is going to be kind of the larynx, the voice box. Doesn't have like a particular like structure you're looking for. It's just the place where we're producing sound. So I wanted to just show you here that this right here, this guy, this is called your epiglottis, and it closes on the trachea. So if I were in class, I'd probably say, why does it close? Well, it closes because your food doesn't want to travel down it. Only thing that wants to travel down is air. I'm trying to get my thing to go through. There it goes. All right, this is a harder tube than your esophagus. And it also contains like kind of ridges, if you were to see that here, to help you out. So again, your epiglottis would close when you are eating. Now, if you're talking while you're eating, it makes it a little bit harder for it to close. The next one is your esophagus. So that's going to be right here. And if you were to go through, then it's this one here. This one is more flexible because it's going to be able to expand when you are eating your food. Depending on the size it's going down. So the area of your glottis would be right underneath here. So when they say what's your glottis, this is your glottis, and then this is your epiglottis. Your epiglottis is covering your glottis. So that is dissection sheet 1. We will move on to dissection sheet 2.